Greetings, and welcome to the Modern Alchemist channel. I am Aubrey Forest, the Modern Alchemist, and this is Alchemy Journal. Today I wanted to take just a couple minutes and fine-tune some of the ideas which I presented in the classes thus far, and I wanted to make a minor correction because I had misspoken relative to the mythological counterparts to our days of the week. And thanks to one of our awesome students in the class, he brought this to my attention, and so I want to correct this right now. So, first off, let's take a look at the days of the week. If you recall in the class, I was relating the fact that each one of these days has a corresponding mythological archetype. So Sunday is exactly the sun, Moon Day is the moon, Tuesday, we understand Tuesday by looking at other languages, for instance, French, then it's Mardi, and Mardi then would be Mars Day. So Mars is associated with Tuesday. Wednesday is tied, again, if we look to French, we get Mercredi, which gives us Mercury Day. Other languages simply call it midweek. German, it's Mittwoch. Woensdag in Dutch. And so Thursday represents a transition point in consciousness from one point of the week to the other, and what we have is a chiasmic structure, almost like poetry, where then we get a mirror opposite reflected from one side to the other. And the reason why it's important to know Tuesday and Thursday relative to their actual counterparts is because this trees down Kabbalistically so that each one of those days fulfills a role as a Sephiroth. But we'll get to that. Thursday then, again, French is useful for this. This is Yudi, and I was informed by one of our students in class who is Hindi that in India it is also referred to as Jupiter Day, which is an excellent example of this cross-cultural assignment of the same planetary designation to the day of the week, which gives you a sense that in spite of distance, time, or place, we have a unified conscious experience even relative to the days of the week and their assigned correspondence. Friday, we understand, is Vendredi, which gives us Venus Day. It's also Freyadag, which is Freya, the goddess of the wife of Odin. And then, of course, we have some mythological contamination is what I like to call it, because we literally are all over the map with relation to which mythologies. Eventually Saturday, and this relates to the god Samech. This ultimately gets us to the planet Saturn. Okay, so that's a brief covering of the days of the week. Now, in class, I had accidentally misspoken, and I related Thursday to Tuesday by relating them both as being associated with the planet Mars. That was incorrect. And usually, sometimes when I'm in class, I get a little excited, and that kind of comes together, and I appreciate my students pointing this out to me. So, looking at the week now, as we chain it out, we get Sunday. Here's the reflected pattern. We have Sunday and Monday, which then becomes the father and the mother, and they produce Tuesday, which would then be the son of this union, okay? Father and mother. The idea is, of course, father, mother, son. This gives us the progression through the Holy Trinity. And this Trinity is an expression of ideas and cosmological relationships. We're not talking about any kind of actual, like, God person or imagined or otherwise, okay? We're talking planetary bodies and their associations between each other. This does not mean that Mars is from the moon or anything like that. I don't want you to get confused here at all, but just recognize these associations. In Wednesday, our midweek, then we have Mercury, which is this wonderful planet, which is dark on one side and light on the other, okay? So the side facing the sun is actually light. So if we do this correctly, and display Mercury as it should be relative to the sun, then the light side of Mercury faces the sun, and the dark side would then face Saturn, which is exactly what it does anyway. Okay? When we get to Thursday then, we start over, but in this case in Thursday, which could also be Thor's day, who is the son of Odin, which would be Jupiter, get it? So it gets a little bit confusing, so don't lose, this is where that mental alacrity comes in, where you kind of got to be flexible enough to jump around a little bit and recognize that our ancestors were very flexible with their thinking, because they were trying to teach a great number of things in a very short period of time. A lot of economy in terms of their use of symbology and their use of understanding these various conscious constructs. So Thursday then represents another sun. Okay, in this case though, this is Mars. Over here, this is Jupiter. And then of course Friday, right here, Friday, which then gives us the mother. And Saturday, as Saturn, gives us the father. And so we get this kind of progression, chiasmically, very much like poetry, where father, mother, son, midweek, son, mother, father. And that's kind of the concept that I was trying to illustrate. There's so much more to this, but I didn't want to miss the opportunity to correct the identity of Thursday, which would be Yudi, which would be Jupiter Day, and the significance behind that is actually generated cross-culturally. As it was told to me earlier this week, that day is the day where you prepare for things, and it's the day where you begin your spiritual progression towards the new education, right? You're advancing your consciousness relative to your current state, and Jupiter is the guide for that. And what's fantastic is, regardless of whatever culture you're looking at, Jupiter fulfills that role to an amazing degree. Whether Jupiter fulfills the role of Jehovah, or Jupiter fulfills that role as Horus, the intermediary and mediator, or whether Jupiter fulfills the role of the actual sun and is the son of the father and mother, as we see in Scripture. All right, I'm Aubrey Forest, the Modern Alchemist, and this is the Modern Alchemist channel, Alchemy Journal.